Well, a tornado warning has been issued. We're going to turn things over to meteorologist Ryan Michaels and meteorologist Dan Nyman. It's a tornado warning out of Walton County. Ryan?
Yeah, that's right, Allison. Just recently issued a new tornado warning on that line of showers and thunderstorms that we were just talking about, moving out of Okaloosa County and toward Walton County as we speak right now. We do have a tornado watch in place, and more specifically is the tornado warned cell, actually. So a watch means the environmental conditions are ripe for something to happen. A tornado warning means either it's happening right now or it's imminent to happen. And this line of showers and thunderstorms has been showing some fairly strong winds as it's worked its way on through. Up over towards Santa Rosa County, we've recorded about 82-mile-an-hour winds with this line of showers and thunderstorms. It did briefly show some rotation, which spawned a tornado warning on I-10 just west of Crestview. Thankfully, that storm just started to weaken just slightly, and we started to lose a little bit of that rotation. But right now, we're starting to see that Boeing segment almost start to reform with this line of showers and thunderstorms. Very frequent lightning continuing to occur with this system as well. We're getting about 300 strikes per every few minutes, and it's moving right across the Choctawhatchee Bay right now into portions of Walton County. Folks in Walton County need to go ahead and find their safe places. We're talking anywhere from Destin to Miramar Beach, all the way out east toward Inlet Beach and 30A. We need to go ahead and start to think about finding our safe places right now. This would also include some areas around and to the northeastern side of the Choctawhatchee Bay. I'm looking at you, Freeport, as this line of showers and thunderstorms basically leaves the Choctaw Beach region and continues to slide its way off towards the east. It extends from the coastline all the way up toward I-10, just near Defuniak Springs, where some heavy showers and thunderstorms are just to the west of Defuniak Springs. However, the most potent batch of this, where we could possibly be seeing some rotation, possibly maybe a water spout if some of that rotation is over the bay right now, that is right around the Choctawhatchee Bay and right around South Walton. So if we bring in velocity signatures, I'm going to bring up my tool set so I can go ahead and zoom in on this line of showers and thunderstorms as well. Looking right on the southern flank, almost right where that arrow is pointing, is where we're looking at the potential for seeing some rotation. And what catches my eye is this little couplet right here. You can see some bright shades of green indicating that we've got some winds coming toward the radar scan itself, right on 98. And then just to the north side of that, you can see a little blip of red indicating that winds are moving away. So this is a location where we've got some rotation in the atmosphere, and it'll be sliding its way a little further towards the east, getting close to Santa Rosa. We need to go ahead and find our safe places right now. There's a little bit of rotation in this line of showers and thunderstorms that's trying to slide toward Santa Rosa and Santa Rosa Beach communities, right along and north of 98 as you look down towards South Walton. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in just a little bit more. We'll find some locations here that could possibly be in the path of this line of showers and thunderstorms that's producing some of the rotation. And where we're significantly looking is around Botany Boulevard, as well as and just east of Baytown Avenue towards the north. Santa Rosa would be just onto the right side of your screen. You're just starting to see a little bit of that ahead of this line of showers and thunderstorms where there is potential rotation in the atmosphere. And again, it's sliding its way off towards the east. And Dan, we're going to watch for the potential that we're kind of right around land and near where the water is. I got a feeling that might actually help a little bit, because we could see some of that interaction between the land and the water with this storm actually help foster a little rotation, where you got the frictionless water surface and then you got maybe a little friction over the land, actually causing maybe a little rotation in this line.
Yeah, I think if it was going to do it, now is about the time that we'd really see the peak of rotation here. So if you're living on that eastern side of the Choctawhatchee Bay towards 331 within this area of that tornado warning, now is the perfect time to get to that safe place away from any exterior windows, find a bathroom or somewhere away from the outside walls of your home, and just get set here and kind of stay away from the outdoors over the next few minutes as this fast-moving line of thunderstorms that could possibly possibly be producing a tornado moves towards your area. Right now, that moving right over the bay, lots of lightning at the moment as well. And as Ryan mentioned, we've seen both tornadic potential with this system, and within that as well, we've seen just the strong straight line winds too. We're looking right down here towards the bottom left corner of your screen right now, kind of to the west of Santa Rosa Beach at the moment. You'll pick up on that brighter shade of green. Look towards the color bar on the banner at the top of the screen. You're starting to get into those lighter shades of green, even the whites and the teal colors. That is more than a suggestion of just broad rotation. Now we're looking at a little bit more of a enhanced wind speed that could be producing a potential tornado. Just got a new radar scan in here, and it's moving quickly. Now over top of Santa Rosa Beach, I'll point out for you once again here, we are watching this area of rotation at the moment, but also within that much larger area, there's plenty of impressive wind speeds at the moment, and we can sample those for you here. Using the Doppler radar, looking at this velocity data, we could pick up on wind speeds, say here, for example, in excess of 50 miles per hour. And I think if we zoom in here towards that actual center of circulation just on top of Santa Rosa Beach, you'll find a couple of pixels with even more elevated wind speeds as well. So this one definitely could be a producer of at least a waterspout as it soon moves back over the bay at the moment, just south of Fluffy Landing. It's probably just a minute or two away from 331 there, just towards the east. And this is going to be one to continue to follow off towards the east. This tornado warning lasts until noon Central Time. Given the rate of at which this system is moving, I would not be shocked to see that polygon itself, that red box on screen, kind of get extended further towards the east, because with each given scan, as we switch back towards the general radar data here, you'll notice this is a fast-moving storm. You don't have a whole lot of time to really prepare for this as it bears down on you here. So we're looking at the eastern portion of Walton County, even up towards Ebro, for example, eventually over towards 79, the airport in Bay County. This storm system that is tornado warned and also has strong straight line wind gusts from a severe thunderstorm warning as well. It's bearing down on parts of Bay, Washington, and eastern Walton County quite quickly at the moment, producing not only that tornadic potential, but also very heavy rainfall at times. We're also catching up on, of course, that potential for maybe even some stronger wind gusts in a straight line variety as this continues just to the north of 98 right now, approaching in towards 331. Currently, I'm observing just a small amount of that notching sort of feature right down here on the radar. It is a bit broader in terms of the circulation that we're seeing, at least comparatively to when this tornado warning was first issued, and that shouldn't be a surprise either. I think with today's sort of setup, we're going to see these sorts of brief spin-ups. They take not a whole lot of time to get going, and then they take that downward trend equally quickly, but it wouldn't take much, just a small change in the environment that this storm system was in, to pick up on, once again, a re-intensification of that circulation. So we're looking just to the north right now of Santa Rosa Beach. I expect a new radar scan to come in here in just a few moments' time, and by that time frame, I would expect this rotation to now be right on top of 331, the bridge crossing over the bay just here, just to the southwest of Fluffy Landing. I expect that next scan to have that rotation right on top of the roadway there, continuing on towards the east or just a little bit north of east, passing just to the south of Fluffy Landing at the moment. You might be able to pick up on this on a couple of cameras at the moment. We'll take some peeks out across the area. South Walton High School, for example, we are seeing some very windy conditions, Ryan, and also picking up on lots of rainfall as well, in addition to that potential for maybe some sort of tornadic waterspout to be moving over the bay at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, see if you can pull up some cameras there, Dan, and we'll keep going on radar. Just flag me down when you do happen to get one that maybe is showing something in this storm that's out there towards the eastern side of the Choctawhatchee Bay right now. And as Dan was talking about, it's leaving Santa Rosa as we speak right now. Radar scans come in every 4 or 5 minutes. And so we just had our last one maybe about 2 or 3 minutes ago. So we have to imagine that this line of showers and thunderstorms, as quickly as it's progressing, is more than likely starting to cross over Highway 331. We might have seen it actually come off of Santa Rosa and move across portions of the Choctawhatchee Bay out there into the eastern side, where if it can get over some frictionless water, we consider the water to be a relatively smooth surface for thunderstorms to move across, as opposed to maybe a land surface that has trees and such things that can stretch up and disrupt the flow of air at the base of some of these thunderstorms. And so over the water, sometimes we can see it briefly start to pick up a little bit more rotation in nature. But as you also heard Dan mention, the squall line features feed off of converging winds. And sometimes it is those converging winds that start to briefly rotate in the atmosphere along that line of showers and thunderstorms that can possibly produce maybe a quick water spout if it's over the waters, or maybe just a brief, weak spin up of a tornado. They tend to be weak in nature, about EF0s. You don't tend to always get very strong ones embedded in lines of showers and thunderstorms. Not to say that it can't happen in squall line features, but you tend to see a lot of weak ones that develop. Now, having said that, all it takes is about 50 to 60 mile per hour winds to do damage on your house. If you have maybe a weakness in the siding or the roofs, you can start to certainly see damage in those kind of spots, as well as potential for maybe even causing some power outages due to perhaps a tree being just weakly rooted in its structure into the ground, or maybe even a weak branch up in the tree could come down on a power line. And so those are some of the threats that we'd be looking at in general with this long line of showers and thunderstorms that's moving its way on through. Let's zoom in a little bit on that Boeing feature itself and where we've been seeing the potential for some rotation, waiting for the next scan to come in. And looks like we are located right now with that potential notching feature moving right over Highway 331 and further down 98. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Let's throw a squall line feature on this and see maybe just how much time we have before it starts to slide out into some other locations that are further off towards the east. So we can sample this system with our squall line feature that can give us a potential at where it might be heading. Well, it looks like that squall line didn't quite register. Let's try that again. And we'll drag it out. There we go. Off towards the east and the southeast is where this has been basically moving. Laguna Beach, you got about 10 minutes, maybe less now, considering this radar scan is just a little bit old. Ebro, I'd say you're probably pretty close to about 10 minutes away from that line of showers and thunderstorms at this point in time. So go ahead and find your safe places here, especially Rosemary Beach. You're going to be within this system probably in the next few minutes. And it'll continue to trek down 30A on the coastline and further north up to almost maybe Freeport and Ebro and Red Bay as we get into the next, say, 10 to 15 minutes. Pretty far down the line, pretty bayou, maybe about 20, 25 minutes away from this line of showers and thunderstorms, and about a half an hour away from the Lynn Haven region if it still holds its rotation. But either way, we're still dealing with a Boeing segment, a squall line feature that will come through with about 40 to 60 mile per hour winds. And again, we already talked about the damage that can possibly create as it works its way off towards the east. Switching back over to velocity signature right now, I'm going to give it a quick look here, Dan, but looking like it's already maybe washed out just a little bit. I see some weak maybe signs of the old rotation with it, but that seems to be maybe some good news. We could be seeing this system as soon as it spins up. In these squall line features, they can absorb that rotation rather quickly too, and it can spin down.
And that's exactly what I think we're going to start to see right now. And we do have some reports, though, from the National Weather Service, or at least the storm reports issued to the National Weather Service from trained spotters, emergency managers out across Walton County. A couple here, one including storm damage near Sandestin, included some tree limbs that were snapped and some roof shingles blown off. So that could potentially just be some thunderstorm wind gusts, as we've been observing this morning with the line of storms. More interestingly, though, back towards the west, towards Sandestin, there was a spotter report of a funnel cloud. So that kind of coincides with the rotation we saw. Still not a confirmation that this tornado-warned cell produced any tornadic activity, but there was at least the potential there with maybe a funnel cloud starting to lower itself out of that rotating cloud structure within that line of storms. And that is a perfect hint to us to continue to track this with concern as it moves off towards the east. I want to take you outside right now. We have some tower cameras once again, and weather is worsening quickly over at the Emerald Coast Middle School. Look at the rainfall at the moment. Some of the rainfall rates we've observed so far this morning, anywhere between 2 and even 3 inches per hour. Now, of course, it's a fast-moving line of storms, so you're not necessarily going to see that heaviest rainfall for an hour, but something we're going to have to quietly follow through this afternoon, not just with this first round of rainfall, but later on with the additional rounds we're expecting as well. Let's go back to this camera here. Things are getting a lot windier at the moment as well, and this is kind of right in that ballpark area where this line of storms is at its strongest at the moment. You can see, I think this camera just below a roof structure here, an overhang of sorts that is seeing a lot of that runoff from the roof blow out in front of it, but the camera's shaking kind of a little bit more now as well. You're seeing just barely through the pixels of those rain droplets and that extra water funneling down. The trees are certainly picking up in speed as well from the elevated wind speeds that we're observing. So even if possibly at the moment we're not necessarily observing that rotation as much so on the radar, much broader in nature than what we were previously seeing, there is still potential for stronger straight line wind gusts that could do equal amounts of damage. Notice once again, Ryan's kind of been talking about this important point, an important feature that you need to continue to watch out for here on the radar. It's this sort of bowing shape here. See that curved structure where right out in this central area here, looking down towards South Walton, just north of Highway 98, where that C shape is punching outwards, that is where we often observe the strongest straight line wind speeds. And I would not be shocked at the moment to be picking up on at least severe thunderstorm level wind speeds in excess of 50 or 60 mile per hour winds. And that's exactly what we're monitoring right here. And also back towards Freeport, you'll notice picking up on 45, 55, our computer pointing at here, mile per hour wind speeds. Back towards where that rotation was previously observed, it is much broader in nature at the moment, Ryan. No updates just yet from the National Weather Service in Tallahassee. We still have 6 minutes left in this tornado warning, so we'll probably just let this one expire at its scheduled time, 12 o'clock p.m. Central Time. But I still see other hazards within this storm that may not be tornadic in nature, but still could produce some issues for you and require you to stay bunkered down indoors over the next few.
Yeah, that's right, Dan. We're just like we were talking about the 40 to 60 mile per hour winds. If there's any weaknesses in the structures of your home, such as maybe some shingles that maybe just a little bit past due, those certainly can come off in 40 to 60 mile per hour winds. And if you have any weaknesses in the sidings of your homes, those can certainly be affected by 40 to 60 mile per hour winds. If it's trash day, your garbage can out in the road might end up in somebody else's household. But for the most part, this line of showers and thunderstorms is showing that classic bowing segment to where we can see some pretty strong winds that actually start to flow in on the backside. And that's what actually causes the line itself to give you that reverse kind of C structure. It is the actual winds that are being sucked into the backside of the system that bows the segment out. It actually bows the rain out because the winds are blowing so hard in from the backside. And that gives you the that reverse C is what we call it, or a bowing segment of showers and thunderstorms indicative of those strong winds as it works its way on through. This is a warm frontal setup. We had a warm front move up out of the Gulf of Mexico, and with it comes warm, moist air. A warm front's the leading edge of warm, moist air. Warm, moist air is very buoyant, wants to rise. Cool, dry air is very dense in nature. And so warm, moist air, as you start to transport that up into maybe cooler temperatures aloft, you actually start to condense out that moisture in the atmosphere, and that's how you start to form clouds, and then eventually that rising motion continues up into the atmosphere. Then we start to develop maybe showers, and the higher we can punch those clouds up into the atmosphere, the bigger the thunderstorm can become, the more potent it can become. And that's what we're dealing with along this warm frontal boundary that basically extends across the panhandle right now, and this line of showers and thunderstorms is basically tracing right around it. We've got winds coming in from the northeast up out of Georgia, across the tri-state, and then we've got winds coming in from the south on the coast. And it's the convergence of those winds right along the warm frontal boundary that also helps to foster rising motion in the atmosphere to create these showers and thunderstorms that we're dealing with right now. So a tornado warning has been issued back when it was moving through Santa Rosa. We certainly were seeing some signs of rotation, and that just convergence of the winds out ahead of the line of thunderstorms itself can actually help to impart rotation in the atmosphere and rotation in the thunderstorm itself. And we can briefly see that spin up until, like Dan mentioned, the possibility that somebody spotted a funnel cloud in the location that we were looking at right around Santa Rosa when the system moved its way on through. That can certainly happen with these thunderstorms and squall line features as they race their way on by. It's 11:57 right now. We're going to continue to watch this line of showers and thunderstorms move off towards the east. And I think that the National Weather Service will probably go ahead and allow that tornado warning to expire. If they were going to put out another tag for anybody in Bay County on the potential of seeing rotation anymore in this, they probably would have already gone ahead and issued another tornado warning. But as we've been noticing with this line of showers and thunderstorms, it has started to lose some of the rotation, or we're even seeing some of those stronger winds maybe fan out just a little bit more so with this system. You're seeing a little bit more duller colors of some reds and greens, and that's indicative of the winds actually backing off just a little more, where you start to see some of the brighter shades of either greens, blues, or pinks. Those can be indicative of stronger winds in the atmosphere. Let's zoom in on that segment here as we're inside 2 minutes of this tornado warning expiring, and we're no longer seeing any sort of couplet feature now with this system. A couplet meaning that those reds and greens may be tightly packed, indicating that you've got winds that are rotating, going in opposite directions of themselves in a very small location, which could be the possibility of maybe rotation in the atmosphere capable of producing a tornado. What really catches my attention here is actually this little Boeing segment where we could be having some strong winds just east of Highway 331 right now, east of Freeport, about to move into the Red Bay region and around the actual radar scan itself. That little segment could have some 40, 60 mile per hour winds. It's moving down 20 east of Highway 331 in Walton County on its way towards Red Bay, probably just about 5 minutes out from Red Bay. So let's hunker down just a little longer in Freeport, but most of the stronger winds are now starting to move to your east. Ebro, it's about maybe 5-10 minutes down the road for you to the west. Down 20, and that line of showers and thunderstorms will come through with some gusty winds here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. But less than a minute to go on this tornado warned segment here, and I don't think the National Weather Service is going to reissue on it. But we're going to continue to monitor this line of showers and thunderstorms, and if we do happen to see some rotation,